Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue 30. Mark Waid writing with Gleb Melnikov on the art. So, I thought this was the start of a new arc. Turns out it's just a one issue story. Yeah, because we're starting something new next time. But this is Batman and Superman have been called to Themyscira by Wonder Woman, and it specifically points out this is set after that Wonder Woman annual from Rucka's run. Yep. It mentions that in the editor's note, which I thought was cool. But they go out there with Robin to help in what turns out to be a murder investigation. An Amazon has popped up dead, and they cannot solve it, so they ask in Batman and Superman, and Batman gets all detective-y, analyzes the crime scene and all that. And it's like, okay, there's no fingerprints except for the victim, there's none of this, there's none of that, who is she? I assume you've already tried the lasso on people, and she's like, yeah, I asked literally every woman on the island, and every woman has said they didn't do it, and they're all telling the truth. So it presents us with this mystery. If anything, like, I really like this issue, but I'm almost a little disappointed that it wasn't like a multi like comic arc of like actually investigating a mystery. Like when it got solved and just became this, oh no, like no one's actually dead, it's the end of Saw, she just gets up, she's fine. Like,
yeah, when they started hinting at a monster and that it's a locked room mystery and it could be a shapeshifter or a demon or something, I was like, ooh, the good thing Batman and Superman are on the case for this. And then it wrapped up and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I could have went for like a 4-issue arc or something with this, but oh well. It's all done. So yeah, it turns out that it's like the woman who died didn't actually exist. Like all the memories of her were fake. She's a completely new person, and her she's there. Yeah,
Apate. She's the sister of Dolos, the Deceiver.
Whoa, no, that's what we find out later. Oh. That's not the name they think she is at the start.
Okay. Yeah, she thinks she's one of the scientists of Amazon or Themyscira, who created the Purple Ray and all this other stuff.
They say a name, but obviously, later on we find out she's Apatia and she's the sister of Dolos, and that all of this is a distraction so Dolos can come out of the Well of Souls, and that's all it builds up to. A lot of what the issue is, though, is like Batman interacting with some of the Amazons. Superman and Robin team up to go and he sees some kangaroos, and he's excited by that. He wants a bat kangaroo. Batman says no. It's a whole thing.
So her name was Diatrine, was the name that they thought she was.
The victim, yes.
Yes.
Yes, but it turned out there is no victim. The victim was just a distraction and was actually this other demigod character. So... yeah, like, basically Batman figures out there couldn't have been a crime here. And we get, I mean, to be fair, I do like some of the imagery here, the eyes and the hands. You know, so the demon coming out of the thing and also the dead woman have eyes in their palms, but no eyes in her head. So it's a very creepy horror movie kind of visual. With
the eye like seared into her, like the letter I seared into her forehead. Number 1?
Yeah, I think that technically is a 1, because and that lines up with what Diana says, is that there's been a murder and it appears it might not be the last, and I think that's because she's numbered 1, so she's assuming there's going to be a second at some point. But yeah, all fun. But I will say the transition from like the dead body like waking up with the eyes, which is really cool, to the next page where she's turned into what she actually looks like, I thought, I think maybe a transition panel or two would have been nice there, because it was really abrupt to be like, oh, now she's in this like fancy purple and gold get up and the eyes are just like a decorative like image on her outfit. Like that was a bit of a weird transition to just sort of jump to that.
I agree.
You know, minor quibble, all things considered, because it is pretty fun. Melnikov is a fun artist. I do think he kind of fits into the tone that I think was set in this book. Obviously, it's different from Mora, certainly, but it does have its cool kind of chunky, cartoony look to the faces at times, which I think
love
works.
how thick everybody is, from the Amazons to Superman and Batman, with the exception of Robin, which he looks a little bit kiddish, but I think it plays out considering you know how different he is from everybody else on the island. You know, he's a teenager compared, you know, so I think it ends up working out. But yeah, there's that page with when Dolos turns Superman back into Clark, right? Because he's playing tricks, and he looks like a linebacker, you know, but it works out. So
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was the big page where he comes out. It turns out what Dolus was doing is he was stealing the fire of
Prometheus.
Prometheus, not Poseidon. The fire of Prometheus was something to use against Poseidon, I believe they said at one point. But yeah, he's got the fire. That's what he wanted, and now this brother and sister duo are all ready to like wreak havoc with it. They make, like you say, Clark turns into Clark. A swarm of bats attack Batman. Like they're doing all this stuff. Ultimately, though, like Wonder Woman lassos them up with the lasso and says, "Oh, this will like stop any illusions you try to use because this will show us the truth." And they send the fire down the lasso, thinking, "Oh, this will like stop you." But then, basically, the big moment of the issue is that all three members of the Trinity hold onto the lasso together, and it stops the fire. Like the three of them combined have enough will and strength and truth to, like counteract it. And the fire goes back towards the siblings, and they burn up. And then Robin shows up with a bunch of Amazons to sort of end the fight. Yeah, it's a nice one shot. I think like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the interacting with the Amazons. I enjoyed the murder mystery. But my disappointment also comes from I was enjoying it being a murder mystery, and it was already like done and turned into something else by the end of this, and was only one issue. So I really liked it, but I also am disappointed that it wasn't like a full arc.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that, and it also going back to that Rucka story about the three of them and when they hold the lasso at the end, right? Because that Rucka annual was about their friendship and how it bloomed.
Yes.
So here, this coming up that that all three of them will stand together. I like that thematically, and then just a fun little thing. I feel like all of the costumes, or all of the I guess we'd say costumes, the Amazons are wearing.
Yeah.
They all look like different versions of stuff that we've seen Diana wear over time. So I thought that was a bit fun.
Oh, that's a nice touch, yeah.
Elkanoff's turn, or on what he did. So
yeah, there's a nice turnaround as well, because like when Hippolyta like meets them at the start of the issue, she clearly isn't thrilled that they're here, and I mean Diana even says most of them aren't thrilled that she's invited men to come and help. But then at the end of the issue, she's like thanking them and shaking their hands and all that. So yeah, it's a nice like sort of bookend to the story. Plus, Superman makes Diana blush by saying, "Oh, your daughter's amazing. You should be proud of her. She inspires us." And so yeah, it's the whole thing. It says next Eclipso, so we're getting an Eclipso story next.
Let's go.
So that's the thing. Yeah, no, it's a very pretty book. You could tell the coloring. I didn't check, but I'm assuming the colorist is the same as it usually is, because it's the same vibrant colors to me by my eye.
Yeah, it feels like more colors. So it says it's Tamara Bonvillian.
Yeah, I think that's who it usually is. Yeah, I recognize the name at least anyway.
Yep. So they all fit. But yeah, I definitely like. So Melnikov. We've seen through Robin really dynamic art style and stuff, and here I think it really works when it works. And there's not a lot of weak points here, I would have to say. Like, even the expressions and everything kind of hits. It's just,
I think
it might not, it's a little chunky, so it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think he tells the story well.
I kind of like the chunkiness. I think it works for something that's meant to feel Silver Age. Not that this is necessarily Silver Age, but whenever we're doing like this time period in the character's history, I feel like they're evoking Silver Age because it just feels right to sort of feel old school.
Yeah.
And I think this is an artist that lends himself well to that vibe. So I'm not saying he should only ever do like flashback stories, but hell, he's good at it. So I wouldn't say no to it. So cool. Yeah. So honestly, really good, but just the disappointment of like, oh, I wish this was actually more than what it was. So maybe that's a compliment.
But we're getting Waid doing Eclipso, and I'm excited for that because I do love a good Eclipso story. And so far, Waid has proven that he likes digging deep into things.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. I mean, I think this book's lasted longer than I thought it was going to. I'm actually shocked that we're at issue 30, and he's still getting issues solicited for his next arc, right now. So.
Yeah, because it's already outlasted the last Batman Superman book, right? Because that only made it like 25, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. Even the New 52 one didn't really last much beyond 25, I don't think. So,
I think it helps that it's been consistent, right? So it's like, it's never the best thing, but it's never bottom either. Waid just uses it to write good stories. So.
I just think it's more interesting now because he's getting like other bigger books to do. You know, he's doing
Mhm.
events, he's doing a new Justice League book.
Yeah.
I will say, like, you know, just this is a little negative, I suppose. But if I was to pick like this continuing or him staying on Shazam, don't get me wrong, I'm actually loving Josie Campbell, so I guess things worked out in the end. But if you'd said to me, if you'd given me the choice like a few months ago before we knew that was happening, you could either have Waid stay on Batman Superman or stay on Shazam. I'd have probably picked Shazam between the two. But you know, that's, but you know, we still have this. It's a lot of fun, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, they both feel kind of the same space too. So I'm glad that we're getting one. It's not like he dropped both. So.
Sure. But I do think he's like work on Shazam has been better than
Top
any
notch.
part of like World's Finest, and I've enjoyed all World's Finest, but I do think his Shazam has been better than this. But hey, this is the one that's still going. He clearly still likes telling these stories of these characters in this time period. So now we're doing a clip, so we'll see how that goes. What are you rating World's Finest, Matt?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
I'm going 7. It would be higher, but the disappointment of it just being a one-issue story and like the murder mystery, because I like as soon as they started doing like we don't know who killed her. This is why Batman and Superman are here. I was like, oh, I can see issues of them interrogating people. I can see issues of this and that. So many possibilities ran through my mind, and then it all went away. So
usually when they do a locked room, I expect it not to be resolved in that issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, and if that's never what it was going to be, that's fine. But, you know, my mind was racing with all these ideas, and it's a shame that it never lived up to any of them. So, 7 out of 10, but still really solid.